6 reasons why you don't practice as much as you should and the steps you can take to turn this around. Let's do it. Before we dive in, if you're a church drummer or aspiring church drummer and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I post a new video, because this channel was made specifically with you in mind. I've taught many drummers who've gotten into this spot where they very much desire to make progress and get out of the rut that they're in, but sitting down to practice just seems like a constant struggle and chore. If this sounds like you, then this video was made specifically with you in mind. So let's dive right into 6 reasons you're not practicing as much as you should. The first reason is very simple. It's just a matter of priority. Unfortunately, time just doesn't magically appear for you to practice your drums. It's going to take intentionality and planning on your part to set aside that time. The truth of the matter is that there's no progress without priority. So the first step to practicing with consistency is sitting down with your calendar and marking out the time and days that you'll devote to practice and treat it just like any other commitment. This might require you having to say no to other things, and if you aren't willing to do that, then you have to reconcile the fact that your skills on the drums will stay exactly where they are right now. Don't get me wrong, there are many things in life that can be more important than drumming, like family, friends, faith, etc. And I'm not at all saying that you need to cut those things out of your life so that you can practice your drums instead. Where many of us can afford to make the time is how long we spend on social media, TV, and video games. Studies show that the average American spends about 3 hours watching TV per day, and the average gamer plays about 5 hours per day. I'm not even going to go into the statistic about social media. I've never heard anyone look back on their life and say that they regret not watching more TV or playing more video games. My hope is that this video will perhaps help you reevaluate your priorities. Before we move on to number 2, how do you think your playing would change if you consistently practiced 30 minutes every single day? Let me know in the comments. I'm really excited to see what you guys have to say. Reason number 2, you've lost sight of your why. There can be many reasons why we decided to start playing drums, but in order to keep moving forward, you should have a compelling reason why you play. The reason you aren't practicing could be because you lost sight of why you play in the first place. For me personally, the reason I play is because I regularly use it to worship God. And since my faith is extremely important to me, I need to keep this reason in the forefront of my mind. This is compelling for me because through this lens, drumming is not just about me and my own enjoyment. Keeping my skills sharpened is a form of worship to God. The last thing I want to do is squander the gift God has given me, like the parable of the talents in Matthew 25:14-30. For those of you who need a refresher, and for those of you who haven't read the parable, there were 3 servants, and each of them were given money to invest. 2 of them went on to multiply it for their master, and both were deemed good and faithful servants. The 3rd servant hid the money in the ground, and he was deemed wicked and slothful. I think we all know what kind of servant we should strive to be. And if you're not practicing regularly and keeping your skills sharpened, then you're not really fostering the gift that God gave you. The practical advice I would give you is to take some time to reflect on why you chose to play drums in the first place. Or maybe you need to reformulate why you play the drums to something even more compelling than when you started. My hope is that this will drive you forward to practice even when you don't always feel like it. Okay, so reason number 3, limiting beliefs. The 3rd reason you might not be practicing as much as you should is because you have limiting beliefs. For example, if you have the limiting belief that you're too old to learn new things, it's going to breed a lack of confidence in your ability to learn. Even if you manage to sit down to practice, your efforts will be lacking at best. Limiting beliefs can leave you trapped in this endless cycle because your beliefs shape your reality, and your reality reinforces your beliefs. The only way to break the cycle and combat limiting beliefs is to reprogram your mind to think differently. One of the best ways I have found to do this is to speak positively over yourself and encourage yourself in the Lord. A few great verses to start with are, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of love and of sound mind. And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Speak these verses over yourself anytime you start believing those lies from the enemy. You can become a great drummer regardless of your age, regardless of all the obstacles stacked against you. You can do this because God is on your side. Number 4, dopamine. Okay, this next reason is getting a little more deep into brain chemistry, and it's a little bit more closely related to the first one when we talked about priority. So remember when I was talking about the amount of time we spend on things like TV and video games? Well, it turns out that all of those things, including anything that gives you instant gratification, it gives you a hit of dopamine to your brain. You can get dopamine from many things like food, or drinks that taste good, drugs, social media notifications, TV, streaming services, and the list goes on and on. When your brain gets a hit of dopamine, it's programmed to seek it out more and more without any kind of context. All your brain knows is that it's getting that dopamine hit with the least amount of resistance possible. It doesn't take into account that your source of dopamine could be unhealthy for you. And this is exactly how unhealthy habits are formed. I'm not going to get too deep into detail on this because I'm not a brain scientist, but in this modern world, it's very easy to become dopamine addicted, and it results in an inability to focus on anything that doesn't give us instant gratification. So now bringing it back to your drumming, it turns out that the aspects of drumming that makes the biggest difference in your playing are not instantly gratifying. Things like practicing rudiments, reading music, playing things with repetition, playing things you can't already play, being uncomfortable and patient are all the things required to truly make progress. So if you're suffering from a dopamine addiction from the instantly gratifying activities in your everyday life, then sitting down to practice your drums is going to be extremely difficult for you. So this is all the more reason to try and cut back on some of those instantly gratifying activities so that you can make progress in your drumming as well as focus on things that are more important in life. So I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable with you guys and let you know that when I was growing up, all the way up until my college years when I was working on getting my bachelor's in music education, I was heavily addicted to video games. With the Lord's help, I was able to quit them for good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not about to make a blanket statement that there's anything inherently wrong with playing video games, but for me, it was definitely an unhealthy addiction, and it made it nearly impossible for me to focus on anything else. When I wasn't playing video games, I was thinking about them and focused on when I was going to be able to play next. I was even skipping classes in college until I decided to quit playing them for good during my sophomore year in 2010. Praise God, to this day, I don't even have an inkling of desire to go back to playing them. If I hadn't quit playing video games, I probably wouldn't have ever graduated and I wouldn't be the drummer and teacher I am today, helping church drummers play their very best. Now talk about perspective. Okay, so number 5. The 5th reason you don't practice is because you might not have clear drumming goals in place and a clear sequence plan to get there. Setting goals is extremely important to getting things accomplished, and this includes long-term goals and short-term goals. Short-term goals are the ones that are easier to hit and keep you motivated to hit your long-term goals. Long-term goals are needed because they can give us purpose, keep us from getting complacent and lazy. In order to reach those goals, there has to be a clear and sequenced plan in place. If you're learning anything in life, drumming included, it's very difficult to come up with this plan on your own. Many drummers I work with were previously self-taught, and many of them come with bad habits that take time to break. Many of them doubt their ability to learn because they've been trying to learn all kinds of different things in the wrong order. Before you know it, they have limiting beliefs ingrained inside their brain that keep them stagnant in their playing. Things like, it's too hard, or I'll never be able to play that, or I'm just not that serious of a drummer. If you feel you're lacking a plan and clear goals, it might be time to seek out someone with more experience than you to help. Okay, so the last reason and final reason is closely related to not having a plan or a goal, and that is lack of accountability and assessment. Accountability from someone more experienced is imperative to progress, and I definitely know I wouldn't be the drummer I am today without it. We all need that accountability because it's natural for an individual to seek comfort and avoid being uncomfortable. Practicing drums and really improving involves getting out of our comfort zones, and so we need a coach in our corner to push us forward. On top of that, we drummers often think we sound better than we actually are, and sometimes we can even be out of touch of how good we actually are. Have you ever recorded yourself playing where you thought it sounded great while you were playing, but then you listened to that recording and it made you cringe? I definitely know I have, and that is exactly why we need a coach to help us see our blind spots. There are many reasons we don't make the time to practice our drums, and I hope this video has given you some insight on some potential changes you need to make and some things you need to think about so that you can continue to foster the gift God has given you. If you think you might need help coming up with achievable goals and a plan to get there, feel free to book a call with me by clicking the calendar link in the description of this video, and let's see if I can help you. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.